Welcome to The Game Changer with Dr. Sharalyn, where purpose meets performance and leaders are built to shift legacies. I'm Dr. Sharalyn Payne, executive strategist, speaker, and the secret weapon behind leaders who drive transformation at the highest levels. Each episode delivers bold truths, power skills, and real-world strategies to help you lead with precision, show up with presence, and build the kind of influence that outlasts trends. This is the space where high-impact decisions are born, where influence is intentional, and where the bold don't just lead, they change the game. So if you're ready to rise, ready to lead, and ready to create the kind of impact that moves markets, missions, and minds, you're in the right place. Welcome back, Game Changers. I'm your host, Dr. Sharalyn Payne, and I am here with Dr. Alain Salas. Dr. Salas is the creator of the Goal and Success Clearing, Discover the Three-Step System, helping ambitious entrepreneurs break the cycle of limiting beliefs so they can predictably make more sales, achieve their goals flawlessly, and grow their business optimally without self-help courses, endless therapy, or overhyped events. Now, as an entrepreneur, I am so excited about this particular topic because, of course, we are looking to optimize, we're looking to maximize, and we always are searching for the next best thing that's going to help us to achieve our goals flawlessly. And so Dr. Salas is going to help us tap into that. Welcome, Doctor. How are you?
I'm doing good. Bonjour, everybody. As you may notice, I've got a tiny accent. I was born and raised in south of France, so I may slide some very easy French word during the conversation, if you don't mind.
No, we don't mind it at all. I love France, and so we would love for you to talk to us in French. So got a couple of questions for you. We had a very interesting conversation behind the scenes, and I love what I heard and wanted to bring this information to our audience. One of the things I have a friend, and we are always talking about, is the power of the mind and neuroscience. And so you have something to help us to decode the mind. Can you share with us what that is?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you. I appreciate what you're saying. And first of all, we have to define what is the mind, right? Because we always talk about the mind and body and all that. But what is the mind? And just to give you an idea, it's kind of a lack that we live in two separate worlds at the same time. So we've got what we call the outside world, Dr. Sharalyn, right? And so the outside world, it's what we are aware of. It's our self-identity. It's basically your personality, what you are aware of. So what are you aware of? Your thought, your emotion, your behavior, and your action. And we call that the conscious mind, what we are conscious, what we are aware of. And after, we've got a hidden mind, and we're going to call it the subconscious mind. And we don't know what's going on down there. And we call it very simply the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind records everything you have been doing in your life from age 0 to now. All your skill as a podcaster, as everything that you need, the skill that you need in life in order for you to perform, are coming from your subconscious mind. All the automatic process in your body that you don't have to think about it, like breathing, digestion, heartbeat, are stored in your subconscious mind. So I started to become very intrigued about the subconscious mind. And if you allowed me, there's two things that I want to mention about it. That's good. Hopefully, it's going to give us a little bit more clarity about what is the mind. Is it okay?
Absolutely. Go for it.
All right, let's do it. So the first thing, you can Google it, right? You go to the Google and you can Google it. So your conscious mind, so who do you think you are? It's only 5 or 10% of your mind, depending who you're reading. Therefore, the subconscious mind, the hidden mind, the mystery mind, if you want, is 90 to 95% of your mind. And yet, when we want to grow our business, when we want to transform ourselves, when we want to be into personal and business development, what are we focused on? Only on a conscious mind, meaning that we use potentially only 5 to 10% of mind power. So I thought to myself, why not bringing the subconscious mind to the party, right? And using 100% of our mind power.
Wow. So, how do we access our subconscious mind to be able to rely on it?
So we have to speak. It's like I used to travel a lot, right? I used
Mhm.
to live on my sailing boat and own a boat rental business. And when I was traveling, the most frustration that I had, and I'm sure you're gonna understand what I'm telling you because I know you travel quite a bit. It was like when I will met a cool guy, a cool gal, and I didn't speak the same language. I mean, I couldn't really communicate, right? We couldn't have those exciting conversation, that sharing, that awesome communication, right?
Right.
And I feel that with a subconscious mind, that's what's happening, right? Because if you, in my field, if you want to change your subconscious mind, and we're going to explore that deeper, right? You need to write down a journal. You need to do a ton of affirmation. You need to do visualization. You need to do so many different things and repetitive, like it has to be repetitive over and over and over again, right? So it's like a crapshoot in a way, and whatever stick, you're lucky, right? So
Mhm.
that's not the way I like to operate, right? And so um, you need to find out the language of a subconscious mind, right? And what it is. Well, let's take an example of a dream. When you remember a dream, what do you remember of?
But I remember my feelings. Well, let me say this. I don't
Okay.
know if you know this, but I do dream interpretation. So
Ah, okay.
I am
I
remembering.
didn't know.
Yeah. So I'm trying to remember, what am I feeling? Who was there? What are the colors that was taking place?
Yeah,
What's happening? The people.
exactly. So there's always a picture. I never heard, I mean, you know better than I do. I never heard anybody telling me, oh, what I remember of a dream, it's only the smell of a dream, right? I mean, it doesn't even sound right, right? And so the dream and the picture, right? That's how your subconscious mind work, right? Because
Mhm.
like you
Right.
say, the picture can be so complex and there's some symbolism into that there's book about it, right? Dream interpretation. There's even people like you who actually, can help other people to say, hey, that's what it means, right? And
Mhm.
so the way to do that is to speak the same language, that is
Right.
visualization. You need to visualize what you don't want, right? What is it that you don't want in life, right? So let's, for example, if you're a businesswoman and your business or for a businesswoman would be the same, you've got a goal, but you've got some self-doubt, right? You say, well, I don't know how it's going to work. I don't even know how I'm going to be able to materialize that, right? So that's what you want to get rid of, right? Because you don't want to
Mhm.
doubt, you want to be aligned, right? And so basically what we will do with the mind clearing process, we'll do the step number one. You want to delete what you don't want. In this case, if self-doubt, that emotion or that thought or both that make you doubting, right? So we're going to
Mhm.
delete that. And after step number two, you want to download what you want, the best case scenario, the ideal outcome, right? So that's what you want to do. And number three, you want to make sure that you create that on the screen of your life if you want. You want to make sure that that goal is going to happen, right? Because that's really the goal, right? To make sure
Mhm.
we can create that into our life. And so those are basically the three steps of the mind clearing system, and the goal and the success clearing is a part of it, right? And so you want number one, it's kind of like when you've got a program in your computer and you don't like it, it doesn't work for you. What you're gonna do, you're gonna delete that program, you're gonna put that in the trash, you're going to go to the Play Store and you're going to download a program that works better for you. And what you're going to see on the screen of life, the outcome, the result is going to be so much better. And you're going to be pleased with the result, right? So you're going to reach your goal. So that's simple. It doesn't have to be complicated.
Wow. Wow. Thank you for that. So it's three-step process to reprogram our negative thinking. Wow. That's amazing. So let me,
Negative thinking, negative emotion, negative behavior, and unproductive action, if I may add.
perfect. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Uh,
So let me ask you, do you believe that we are fully in control of our actions and our thoughts and our behaviors?
Well,
I'm
let
going to
me
say even
answer.
our reactions.
Yeah, well, let me answer that by what you have to know. It's like we all have been programmed. You
Hmm.
have been programmed, Doc. I have been programmed. Everybody listening to that program has been programmed. So, what do you mean by that? Well, first of all, disclaimer, we can be programmed at any age and at any time, right? But the basic programming, the foundation of that programming has been happening from age 0 to 7 years old. During that age, we even our brain works with different brain waves. We've got the theta wave, beta wave, and so we are like sponges, right? We absorb everything that we see in our reality, right? And stuff. So we assume things, we assume everything is true, right? So we take the truth, we assume one time, two time, and after it become a program, and that program is stored in your subconscious mind and run the show. So when you ask me, do you think we are in control? Heck no, we are not. We think we are, right? But the decision are made by those programs in the subconscious mind. It's kind of like when you've got a computer, right?
Hmm.
The brain, if I make the analogy with the mind and the computer, the brain will be the hard drive, that's the physical part. The software will be your subconscious mind. The output of the software is your conscious mind, and your behavior is reflected on the screen of life. So if you've
Hmm.
got good programming, if you've got positive programming, right? Man, you're gonna love what you see on the screen of life, right? You're gonna love the outcome of your life. But if you've got the negative programming, and we all do, I guarantee you that.
That's
And
true.
so they are called also limiting belief, right? When we've got those, you're not gonna truly like what you see on the screen of life. The good things about it, we can change that program by deleting, replacing that old programming by a new one. You don't even have to identify it. When you put your old program in the trash because it doesn't work for you, you don't need to identify what doesn't work for you. You just put it in the trash and you download a new one, right? And after, you want to make sure that in your screen of life, you're going to love your outcome. So no, we are not in control. And actually, all those programs are coming from your past. So it's kind of
Love
like
that.
Dr. Sharalyn, that the past is controlling your present and shaping and molding your future.
Wow. Wow.
I know.
So, how does this work when we think about leaders and in the workplace, or even people who are, let's say, they're not necessarily an entrepreneur, but they're working in corporate America. They're working perhaps in the community doing something, maybe at a nonprofit or even at a church. Will this work for them?
I mean, the mind is universal, so it can work for anything. I was on a podcast this morning, and the guy told me, "Well, you are the first guy that telling me like the answer for everything. It
Hmm.
can be for health, it can be for prosperity, it can be for relationship. Like if you've got a negative programming, that's going to dictate the way you react in life." You see, when you
Absolutely.
understand that, when you understand the root cause of all your problem that is in your mind, and hopefully how to fix it is by communicating you with the subconscious mind. Hey, by the way, I don't want this, I want this instead. And can you make sure that I'm going to manifest that in my life? Thank you very much.
Wow. So, do you believe this shows up in our bodies? I think we talked about it, and I believe that
Yes.
some people, yes, they are, and I know you're a chiropractor, so they are dealing with certain
Yes.
ailments. Talk to us about that.
Well, I created this. The goal and success clearing is one part of the program, right? And
Hmm.
it's for basically coaches and entrepreneurs that just want to be successful, to have a successful business, right? They can learn that and apply that technique to themselves, but also they can help their clients, to get better and when they are stuck, to unstuck them, right? So that's number one. And I created, because I'm a body worker, I just created my own energetical technique and all that. And the missing link that I had was that mental and emotional stress that is so huge. I didn't know how to help that, and so that's how the mind clearing was born. And the mind and body clearing, or I call that on my website body clearing, but I'm going to change it and put mind and body clearing, is basically we can treat pain with that, especially long-term pain. Because when you've got long-term body pain, it gets into your mind and you say, man, there's something wrong with me, right? Because I've been to seeing all those people and they cannot help me, right? And if you've got also long-term body symptom, and you will see on my website, I've got quite a bit of testimonial that within a couple visits, they are free of pain, right? Or free of body
Wow.
symptom, right? And I've got more testimonial that are going to be posted. So I knew, Dr. Sharalyn, I knew I was under something when I was able to treat pain, because nobody in my field that I know of claimed that they can do that. And pain is like, although it's subjective, but it's concrete. Either you have pain or you don't. You cannot fake it, right? The patient's going to not tell you to please you, oh, I feel better. No, they come for pain for you to help to get rid of the pain. So that's how I knew I was really under something. Does it make
Wow.
sense?
Absolutely, it makes sense. I think we share that I know some people in my own family who are dealing with pain, and I spent time with them and just watching them, I felt very strongly that this is a lot of it is that the things they've gone through, it's trapped in their mind and their body. They've not let some things go. They've not replaced those thoughts. And so this is the reason why you're going to the chiropractor and they go faithfully, but they're not necessarily seeing the results. And so and they've been going years. And so I can attest to that.
I
But
know.
I believed with all of my heart that what I was seeing with them was absolutely a good part of it was mental. And I began to share with them, if you can just kind of let some of those things go, start journaling, talking about it, get into a good therapy session and a good therapist and really tap into that. And again, replace how you're programming yourself. You're watching and listening and speaking negativity and defeat all day long.
And here's the thing, if you
Mhm.
do therapy, it's going to be only about your conscious mind,
Right. Hmm.
So, how far is going to go, right? 5 or 10%. But
Hmm.
if you can tap into that subconscious mind like this, you can change the entire programming, so you will change the entire outcome, right?
Hmm.
And you don't have to talk forever about your problem. We can, by the way, sometimes make it worse. Because more you talk about it, more you're going to buy into it, and you say, "Oh my
Right.
goodness." And if you cannot be helped, you're going to be desperate, right? And you're going to
Hmm.
think, "Man." So to keep it very simple, when you've got a problem in life, and that problem can be um, a health problem, a prosperity problem, a relationship problem, you need to know two things in order to get rid of that problem permanently. Meaning, I moved on. I don't even think about my problem anymore. You need to know what's causing your problem, and you need to know how to fix it. If you don't know what's causing your problem, how can you fix it, right? And so
Right.
the cause of the majority of a problem, when you understand how the mind works, it's your subconscious programming, your negative subconscious programming, or what they call the limiting belief. But definitely, those programming, I understand people, they're going to think, man, what can I do about that, right? Because it's not your fault, right? I mean, those programs are coming from the past, that are mainly from other people, right? And even for what we talk now about, the generational trauma, they had been passed on from your DNA, from epigenetic, right? So it's not totally a genetic thing. It's more like an energetical genetic that has been passing by your DNA, by your ancestor DNA to yours, right? And so that's why you see, like, let's see, grandma had a daughter, and there was no man sticking around, and that daughter's got another daughter, and there's no man sticking around, and so on and so on, and this is passing from generation to generation. I remember being on a show, and they were talking about legacy. What is your legacy? I say, interesting question. What is the best legacy? It's like what you're not going to pass on to your children.
Oh,
Because
that's
if you do
good.
the work, right, you're going to stop that craziness right there, right? If you do the work, like if, for example, that lady, after she's got a daughter and do the work, the daughter is not gonna have that generational trauma, right? And also, when you transform yourself, right, what's going to happen, you don't have the same energy, right? So when people you raise your energy up, your vibration up. So people around you is going to benefit from that directly and indirectly. You don't have to do anything. They will feel it, right? And so they will, especially with kids from 0 to 7 years old, they will be exposed to better energy, right? To better vibration. So they will get more benefits from that. So to me, that's the best legacy that you can have for humanity and also for your family.
Love it, love it, love it. So let me ask you a question. So you mentioned legacy, and I want to talk through, and then you also mentioned energy. So how can we consistently vibrate at a higher level? We know that, life is going to happen. We're going to have some challenges, and some of us, can fall into depression, or we're predisposed, right, to, see the negative side. But how do we just maintain and vibrate at a higher level, no matter what's happening in our personal lives?
Yeah, that's such a good question because everything vibrates in the universe. Your cell vibrate, and so it means that it's like a wave, like this, like when you see on screen, the wave like this. So
Mhm.
there's positive and negative. Doesn't mean good and bad, right? It's positive and negative. That's how it works. So you're gonna have up and down in life. What makes people happier than others, it's how they react or not react to it, right? Because if you can stay centered, right, and balance and have a clear understanding that what you judge negative can be actually the best thing that ever happened to you, because that will uncover things that you have to work on, things that will allow you to grow as a person, right? So it means that you've got more like a creator spirit or creator mindset instead of having a victim mindset and say, oh, why this is happening to me, always me, and why me, and so I'm blaming on other people or outside circumstances. You will never learn from it, right? Because you're blaming on other people. But when you understand that what you experience in your reality come from within you. And I know some people is going to think I'm crazy, right? What do you mean? I had that car accident, I had this, I've got sick, and got... Yes, it's a reflection of your inner subconscious mind. The good news that we can change it with technique like mind clearing. Some people use hypnotism and things like that. Mind clearing is so much faster, right? But everything is good. Whatever you can connect to your subconscious mind and change it, that's the best thing you can do for yourself.
Perfect. So how do we stay steady? What are some tips or tools that you can kind of recommend for people to just at a very high level, just to stay steady, stay the course no matter what's happening?
So the tips, okay. So obviously use mind clearing, right? I mean, that's
Mhm.
that works very quickly. For example, in 5-10 minutes, we can get rid of any negative emotion, negative thought on the spot like this, right? But it's not enough. You need to replace by a positive. But so what I can tell people, if I describe the mind clearing process, after you can adapt that process and do it yourself, right? You're going to need more repetition, and is of course I don't guarantee the result, right? Because that's not what I do. But if you want to try something, you may try this, right? So the way the mind clearing works is like this. Give me something that is bothering you or somebody that you know, right, that you want to get rid of. What will it be? Something you
Ooh,
don't want, or something that,
something I don't want,
right, or
something that
something that bothers you to reach your goal or whatever.
bothers me to reach my goal, or something I want to get rid of.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say, what's coming to mind right offhand is a family member who is struggling with chronic pain.
Okay, so this is affecting you in what way? What is the emotion? How do you feel? You feel guilty?
How do
You
I
feel,
feel?
I don't know about that.
I wouldn't say I feel guilty. I think I feel a level, not necessarily of responsibility. I guess I would say responsibility in the sense that I feel like I need to pray for this person, or
So you
we
think
need,
that you don't do enough?
yeah, maybe that's it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, maybe that's it.
yeah. That's it. So I will say, okay, what you need to do? You need to visualize a picture in which you have to see yourself in the picture, right? And you have to see yourself feeling that you are not doing enough. The worst case scenario, right? So you
Mhm.
visualize that and we'll say, how negative is that picture from 1 to 10? And let's pretend you give me a 10/10. All right.
Okay. Okay.
So that's our starting point, right? And that picture is coming from your subconscious mind, coming very quickly. Boom, you get that picture, right? You say, okay, I'm ready. Okay. So I created a deletion program, a delete program, if you want, that will customize to you. And you will send your energy, you will send telepathically, you will talk telepathically to your, I call that the past you, to you in that picture. You're going to be the one. First of all, it's your picture, right? And second of all, I'm going to give you the technology and the how to send that to your subconscious mind and delete that. And how do we know it's deleted? Because after I say, look at the picture, any negative emotion, and you tell me, no, it's gone. 0/10. Boom, just like that. And after, I say, okay, we good. And I make it more simple than it is, right? And after what we do, I say, visualize the opposite of that picture, right? So you say, okay, I've got that picture. How much you love that picture? 1 to 10. You say, oh, 10, 10/10, right? And after I created a program, a download program that we're going to customize to you. And I will tell you what to say to send it to you in that picture, right? And after you're going to feel really good, right? I guarantee you're going to say, oh, wow, this is great. And after we're going to do like to create that, right? So what is the first step that you want to take in order for this to happen? Or what is the ideal outcome that you see for sure that you will love, that for you it's not even accessible. You think it's not even possible to do it. So you visualize that and boom, we just do the creation thing, right? And after, you're going to see, if I ask you, how do you feel about how do you feel about that woman that is under pain? You say, oh, great, I have no problem with it. I don't feel the same feeling, the negative feeling that I had at the beginning. And you're ready to take action to make sure that, finally you're going to be able to do something about it, right? And you're going to feel good about it.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you for that.
So for other people who don't use the mind clearing, what you do, you just visualize the negative, and it's like opening the file cabinet of a subconscious mind, and that's telling the subconscious mind, I want to work on this file. So you're taking this file, you're opening the file, and you get and after you want to get rid of what's inside the file and replacing it, right? So unfortunately, you cannot delete it, right? But what you're going to do, you're gonna visualize. So that's your current reality, what you don't like, right? So you're gonna visualize that. That's gonna tell the subconscious mind, I want to work on this, right? And after right away, you're gonna visualize the opposite, and you're gonna feel like in the dream interpretation, you're gonna feel as much as you can, all that positivity, all that, maybe she's healed, who knows, right? Whatever your mind created that. And you're gonna visualize that, right? And that's the best that I can teach you like this how to do it, right? It's not going to be perfect. There's no guarantee because the mind clearing is so much more powerful. But at least you can do that. That will be helpful. And after, you need to remember that picture and visualize that in first thing in the morning. Visualize that before going to bed and in between, and visualize that for 30 seconds, right? You just to keep you focused, right? To keep the subconscious mind focused. Hey, by the way, we're still working on that, right? I want to make sure that I stay, aligned. What does it mean to stay aligned? It means, here's the key of the entire process. You need to have your thought, your emotion, your behavior and action aligned. So what do I mean by that? Let's see. I'm going to say, you know what, Dr. Sharalyn, what I'm going to do, I'm going to start a diet, right? So I'm thinking I'm going to start a diet. And after I've got that crippling negative emotion that comes up and say, hey, wait a minute, Alain, last time you did a diet, you lost a ton of weight and you're getting back in 2 months. So I'm going to have what we call mixed feeling about it, right? And so maybe I'm not going to even take action, right? But what I can do mind clearing on that and delete that negative emotion, like that, my thought being starting a diet, right? Having a diet, I will feel good about it. I will take the right action to do it, and I will be more confident about that. So when you are flowing like this, thought, emotion, behavior, and action, you are unstoppable.
Wow. Wow. That's powerful. You mentioned something that I want to touch on for just actually a couple of things. Let me back up. So, what about the people who have challenges with visualization? How do you help those individuals?
What do you mean by challenging with visualization?
Like I've had,
They cannot visualize?
right, they cannot visualize
Oh,
or
okay. Well, you
believe they
get
can't visualize.
yeah. So let's pretend they cannot visualize. I will go with the feeling because the feeling is from the heart, and the heart
Mhm.
is everything. Is your intention? Is the why you're doing things? Is your purpose? So I will say actually a couple of things. Yeah, the feeling and what are your positive thoughts about that when you
Mm,
download, for example. I will say that.
that's powerful. That's powerful. You
Mm.
never hear people really talk about that aspect. We always hear visualization,
Yeah.
visualization, visualization. But in my work with leaders, when we talk about visualizing, there are some who say, I can't visualize. I close my eyes, I see nothing. They cannot come up with that particular
So
image.
yeah, because they are too much left brain, right? They are so analytical that the right brain doesn't even kick. So I will say, when you were a kid, you were playing pretend, right? So let your imagination, Einstein said that's the best tool we have, right? So let's see, it's like a movie and imagine that movie, right? Imagine that you are in that movie and you are the main character. What do you want to do, right? And that's it.
Love it, love it, love it. Now that's a game changer right there. That's
Thank
a
you.
game changer. So you mentioned about the example of like losing weight and your mindset. You mentally you say, I want to lose weight. And I know we're just using this as an example, but for
Yeah.
our audience, I want to lose weight. And you make that decision, but you don't take action because you realize or you remember the past and what previously happened, right? And so that's a blocker. Would you say that's the reason why most people, I'm not going to say most people, so let me change that. Why some people never set or achieve their goals. They're so fixed on what
Yeah.
happened in the past and they don't know how to break free from that cycle, so they're kind of stuck.
100%. Not 90%, not 99%, 100%. Because we
Wow.
are coming from this program. Let me give you an analogy here. Let's visualize a triangle, right? And inside the triangle, you've got your limiting belief and negative programming. And I always give that example. Let's see, my dad told me I'm a loser, right? So
Mm,
inside the triangle, I'm a loser. My foot on top of the triangle, I'm going to think I'm a loser, right? On the right side of the base of a triangle, that's the feeling, the emotion. I'm going to feel like a loser. On the left side is your behavior and action. I'm going to behave like a loser. So guess what? I'm going to have loser result. Because I've got loser result, I'm going to feel even more like a loser. And I'm going to think, boy, I knew I was a loser, but such a loser, right? And so that's going to reinforce that program. I call that the subconscious stress loop. And we've got literally a ton of program like that running behind the scene constantly in your subconscious mind, dictating your present and molding your future.
wow. Well, thank you for that. That's powerful. So, how do we apply this to leaders? We have a vast majority of our audience, they're leaders. So, how do we apply this to leaders or the workplace?
Well, so I'm guessing they want to be a good leader, right? So
I
what
hope
does it?
so.
Yeah, I don't know.
I hope so.
I will say, I will say, okay, simply like a leader or anybody else, I say, okay, what do you want? And that's such a simple question, but you'll be surprised how many people,
Mhm.
because our mind, here's the problem with our mind. Let me give you some stat to put, statistic in order to put that. 80% of our thoughts are negative. 95% of our thoughts are the same as the day before. We like the hamster in the wheel, really, really going
Right,
that
right.
way, right? 40 to 60,000 for the day, right? And 80% are negative, right? We are too much in our head. That's our problem. Why? Because we are designed and raised to solve problems. And as far as I know, problem is not a positive thing, right? A problem is a
Right.
problem. So guess what? When you resolve a problem, there's another problem to be resolved, and so on and so on. And after all the outside programming that we are subjecting to, like the bad news media, all those things, the fear that can be triggered within us. That's why we just focus on that and the trauma that we had. So all the energy is going to the head, and our heart are shut down. So we process the world from our head. Some even process only from the left brain, mainly from the left brain, some the right brain, some are more balanced, right? But we're too much in our heads. So by doing mind clearing, we're going to have more peace of mind, right? So now the mind can start to rest. And because we do mind clearing and we've got more peace of mind, now your heart can open like a flower, right? You become more in touch with your feeling in a good way. It doesn't have to be traumatic and all that. You got better intuition, right? And after your action are more productive, right? Because when we do that, when you do the mind clearing process, what happens? You get more clarity, more focus, and more confidence, right? So each step of the way you do this, right? And so that's how you can raise what we call raising your vibration. That's a big word to say that basically you get more clarity who you are and what you want, right? More focus on obtaining it, right? And more confidence, less self-doubt about that and all that. And when you've got that, what happens is, let's see, the knowledge to reach your goal is here, and you are lower, right? Because you didn't reach your goal yet. That's your current reality. So we do the mind clearing towards reaching your goal. And after, you can literally resonate with that knowledge. I'm going to tell you something. When I created the mind clearing, it came out of the blue. I had some insight and things like that. I was wondering to myself, I'm going to explain that to people. I had no clue. I mean, Dr. Sharalyn, I had zero clue. And I said, okay, boy, I don't know, we'll see. But I treated myself, right? And by chance, whatever, I don't believe in that, but I got exposed to all this book, that YouTube video, and all that, and all that. And I just created the speech that you listening to and your audience is listening to, right? Because I had more clarity, I had more focus, and I was able, when you raise your clarity, focus, and confidence or certainty, if you want, you can have knowledge, access to knowledge that were not accessible to you before.
I love that. That's powerful because when I work with leaders and organizations, one of the things, actually, you touched on everything that they're always asking about and everything the employees are always saying. The employees want more clarity. We don't know what we're doing. So everyone is seeking more clarity. And that's the opportunity gap. And then they say, we're not focused. We're all over the place. We have no idea what we're working towards. We're doing this today. We're doing this tomorrow. And they have no idea why. And the leader thinks that they're clear. Nobody else thinks that they're clear though, and they're unfocused. And then the confidence, they don't have the confidence to be able to achieve those goals, or especially to have high performers, people who challenge them around them. They lack the confidence to be able to work with those individuals without feeling insecure or like an imposter.
Exactly.
And so it creates this energy in the organization that can quickly become toxic if you're not careful. So I love what you shared with that, and that's really, it's needed. Even, we think that, well, this has no place in corporate America. I know a lot of organizations that I'm working with, they're partnering and looking for well-being programs and wellness programs for their employees. And this really could be a game changer for those organizations who really tap into this, because it goes to the heart and the center of what's actually needed. And you're, using these employee engagement surveys and 360 assessments and all of the tools that we actually, give leaders to get to these three things: clarity and confidence and focus. And it's a never ending cycle. It doesn't matter what organization. I can guarantee you that they're struggling with probably at least two of those, two out of the three every single time. So
Very interesting. Thank you for sharing. Yeah.
you're welcome. You're welcome. So with that, I can talk to you all day, but I know we have to go. So I want to ask you, what's the number one takeaway? If there was one thing you would say when you walk out of this session today, when you take off your headphones, what's the one thing that you believe they truly should be focused on in the action they need to take? What's going to be the game changer?
Well, the game changer is like understanding that you are so much more powerful than you give yourself credit for, right? You're not only 5 or 10% of your mind, right? You are 100% of your mind when you connect to your subconscious mind. It's like you need to get the technology to be as powerful as you're supposed to be, like the way you were conceived. At conception, we've got all that. At conception, we don't have any analytical mind. We don't have any ego. We don't have any conscious mind, right? We like a true spirit coming in a human form, if I can say that, by materializing. And so when you understand that, everything is possible. You just have to write the right technology, right? And do a little bit of work. But the good news is like you cannot dissociate what I want to say. Like I think that will be make more sense to people. You cannot dissociate professional development and personal development. They go hand to hand.
That's good.
When you understand that, you understand that you have to transform yourself in order to see the change in the outside. But as a leader, you have to go deep within, change this program, and after it's going to be so much easier. And there's one more thing I want to say. It doesn't have to be difficult. It doesn't have to talk lots of hard work. It's simple. Because, I can make that speech so much more complicated than it is. Truly, I can. I can use big words and all that. But who cares? That's not what this is about. We want to make sure that people can understand very easily. That's just a technology that is missing. And when you can use that technology, I mean, it's a game changer, literally a game changer. And personal and professional development goes hand to hand. You cannot separate that.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Salas, for that. So you guys heard it. Personal and professional development goes together. It's hand in hand. We cannot separate it. And I'm going to say me, I am more powerful than I think. Thank you for that.
For sure.
So what's next? How do we find you? For those who want to work with you, how do they access the tools that you have available?
Yeah, because like you say, we can talk about that forever, right? I mean, trust me, I can, and I'm sure you can ask, you have more questions. But the thing of the matter is, until you experience things, you don't know, right? So true knowledge is about experiencing that. So if you go to my website, it's called the Mind Clearing, mindclearing.com. You go to the contact, and you've got either my email or like a jot form that will appear. And you get 20%, I think it's 20 or 30%, I don't remember, I'm sorry, discount, and get a treatment, right? It takes an hour, what do you have to lose, right? You get a treatment and you see how it works for you, right? How does it feel? What do you think about being able to access your subconscious mind and see the change on the spot, right? That's all I can say, right? So contact me and let's have some fun, right? It doesn't have to be hard use. Actually, when you use the mind clearing process, reaching your goal becomes easier and easier because we eliminate all the resistance, all the doubt that come along your journey. And instead of going down and you potentially giving up, we're going exponentially up and become easier and easier and easier.
Thank you. Thank you for that. So reach out to Dr. Salas, go to his website, schedule a session with him, and then get ready to move forward. Quantum leaps ahead. Thank you, Dr. Salas. Would love to have you on again. I appreciate your time.
Of course.
Let's do this again.
Anytime. Thank you, sweetie. Appreciate it.
Thank you. You don't lead like everyone else, so your resources shouldn't look like everyone else's. I created the Game Changer Leadership Collection for high impact leaders like you. Visionaries, change agents, decision makers who lead with intention and influence. This free high impact resource pulls from my leadership arsenal and delivers immediate actionable insights you can use right now to elevate your influence, lead with conviction, and drive lasting transformation. It's not just a toolkit. It's your first step toward leading at the level you were born for. Let me show you what's inside. The Leadership Edge Sampler. It's a preview of my 10 daily power skills to sharpen your influence and impact. The Influence Language Mini Guide. Essential phrases to increase your authority and build trust in every room you walk into. The Leadership Blind Spot Snapshot. Because the greatest risk are the ones we don't see. The Power of One Visual Aid. A reminder that even one decision, one tone, or one conversation can shift a team or stall a movement. The Executive Briefing Checklist. a go-to tool for high-stakes communication that drives clarity and alignment. The 5-minute accountability brief, a no fluff framework to build a culture of ownership fast. And we have the Game Changer Ascension Model Overview, my proprietary leadership growth map to help you scale your influence with intention. These are the very same tools I use with executives, culture shapers, and elite teams, leaders who know what's at stake and aren't here to play small. Because when you're called to shift systems, influence nations, and build legacies, you can't afford to lead on autopilot. This is where your next level begins. Download the Game Changer Leadership Collection today. It's free, it's strategic, and it's built for leaders who are born to shift the game.
Thank you for joining me on the Game Changer with Dr.
And this is your leadership
where we
edge.
don't follow trends, we set them, and we don't just lead teams, we shift legacies. If today's message challenged, stretched, or inspired you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it, tag it, lead through it. Because real leaders don't just consume wisdom, they multiply it. Want to go deeper? Subscribe to the Ultra Influential newsletter for exclusive tools, behind-the-scenes strategy, and weekly mindset shifts for the leader ready to move nations, markets, and minds. Visit www.smpistrategies.com or send a note to leadership@smpistrategies.com. And if you're ready for next level coaching or consulting that positions you as the right leader at the right time in the right place, let's talk. This is what we do, and we do it with precision, power, and purpose. Remember, change isn't just something you lead, it's something you become. Stay bold, stay brilliant, stay a game changer.